Hey.
I'm not your man. I am something you can never understand. I'll never beat you. I'll never lie. And if you're evil, I forgive you by and by. 'Cause
Welcome to the podcast, man. We about to get this thing going. It's your boy Lo, man. Hey. Shout out to my man Dixon for this Die For You cover over on SoundCloud.
I'm not your friend. I am something you can never comprehend. No need to worry, no need to cry. I'm your Messiah and the offering of my kind.
You, hey. Shout out to the Loyalty Crew, baby. I see y'all, man. We got new merch on the way, baby. New merch is coming. Drop your shirt sizes in the Patreon, man. I need to get that Discord going too.
Darling, if you want me to,
come on, sway in your car with me. If you listening in the AirPods, wherever you at, man, groove with your boy. Hey.
just a sinner, I'm cold. Be on fire when you're cold. Make you happy when you're make it good when you are. I'm a human, I'm a dove. I'm your conscious, I am love. All I really need is to know that you believe.
Rest in heaven to my man Prince. Hey. Key change. Hey, come on. Shout out to the people who had a long day at work today and still made it work. We all got them co-workers that get on our nerves every now and then. But you still showing up. We about to get this pod started, man. So happy you're here. Are you happy? I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy with your life. I hope you're happy about what's going on in your life. If not, just keep pushing. It's going to get better, baby. We're going to get it. We're going to get into this pod, man. Let me fade this out. If you don't know, my name is Aloysius Ballard, man, and we're going to officially start this podcast. But I just want to say what up to you guys, man. Thank you for listening. Do not change the channel. Do not go forward. Do not collect $200 and go to jail or whatever it is on the Monopoly board that we do and say. My name is Aloysius Lo Ballard. Everybody calls me Lo. For short, man. And that's what I'm doing. If you don't know who I am, I'm going to give you in just a second, man. Fool with your boy. Can I start my podcast officially? Matter of fact, before I do that real quick, man, listen, Loyalty Crew, man, I fool with y'all, man. I fool with y'all tough. We had a little technical mishap, but y'all still watching this. Y'all still hanging. I see y'all over on Patreon, man. Y'all the business. Now, I ain't going to tell all my business, but I may or may not have forgotten to turn the audio on in the signal with the video and the stream and all that stuff. But y'all listening don't know because you're not in the Loyalty Crew. If you was in the Loyalty Crew, you would have full access to the podcast, to the jam sessions that we have, to the behind the scenes of me getting ready and all this stuff, and the wonders of what happens before record is hit. And but you can do that. You can go to patreon.com and sign up for Aloysius Ballard and search Aloysius Ballard and sign up for the Patreon and join one of the fastest and most eclectic communities on the internet right now, which is the Loyalty Crew. And I'm so excited. Can y'all see? Y'all can see right here. We got the Loyalty Crew, new distress shirts coming out. We also got some new designs. Shout out to IGotItMade.us. IGotItMade.us is where you can get all of your customized apparel. Man, they make it, they like your merch department, man, and they're amazing. So make sure you go over there and tell them Lo sent you. Use the promo code Loyalty Crew and see what happens. All right. So get over there, check them out. If you have merch or you have things as a creative in your brand that you need made for your brand, I Got It Made has you covered. and they're amazing, man. They work with brands large and small. So don't be afraid to go over and get you something. All right. We're about to start this podcast, man. I had to love on my people over there that support me, and they start out, the plan starts out, it's only like $5. It starts at $5 a month, and it goes up from there. That money goes back into productions that will grant you access, has you also get the ability to ask me questions about your work or about your production, about things that you may be curious about. How do I fix my stream? What's a good way to set it up? How do I begin vlogging? How do I begin, whatever your questions are, production wise or life, man, we chop it up. We get into it, man. We talk it out over there at on Patreon and the Loyalty Crew. So let's get into this podcast. Okay. Come on, turn up with your boy. Hey, it's the world according to Lo. That's right. So let's sit and grow. It's gonna be a good show. What's good? It's your boy Lo, man. I'm so excited. If you do not know how excited I am that you're here, then you're missing the whole thing, man. I am happy you're here. I hope this is not your last time listening, but if this is your first time listening, allow your boy to introduce himself. I am an award-winning videographer, creative director, cinematographer, just creative all over, man. There's not much things in production that I don't have my hands on. But in that, I am so excited to be here, and because the world I live in is so eclectic, I started a podcast about 62 episodes ago, and I wanted to share the world that I live in according to my perspective. So it gets a little bit of motivation, you get a little bit of creative talk and whatnot, but most importantly, I want you to leave better than you arrived. I want you to be a little bit more motivated and happy about what you're doing with your life and embracing your why and your creative measures. Everybody has a creative skill set. You may not have unlocked it yet, but everybody has creativity within them. Some people say, no, Lo, I really don't. I don't. You can't say that because you have not explored all of your creativity. The fact that you live and breathe in the way that you do in your life, no one can see the world the way you see it, the way you taste it, the way you feel it, right? So it is important for us to embrace our own authentic selves. One of my favorite sayings is, to thyself be true. So to do that, we have to be authentically honest and open with ourselves about what we see and how we embrace life's journey and the moments we have. All right. So if you don't know, we talked last week on the podcast about the ramifications of just what we do in media and what we produce, and it being the smoking gun that we fire a lot of times without thinking that we have to be responsible for what comes along with it. And we use Mr. Kanye West, or I'm sorry, he passionately has changed his name and demands that we use his proper name now as Ye. So Ye got up on his high horse because he was in another tangent, and that kind of comes with having too much money and too much ego. He could be doing a lot of other things in the world, and because he feels more entitled for whatever reason, he often ends up just kind of saying whatever to get attention. And we talked about how fame and attention is a heck of a drug, man. It's something very addictive. Attention can be something that that allows you to feel invincible until reality sets in. And that's the deception of being famous and having that kind of attention without any real substance. Anywho, if you want to check that out, you can go back and watch or listen You can find the episodes on YouTube at aloysiusballard.com. Not at aloysiusballard.com. You can find me there. That's the website. But on YouTube, by all means, go check out the episodes. And in that, we want to talk. I was talking about what happened this week. Before we get into that, we gonna pod a little bit, and I'm gonna get you in and out. Y'all know I like to respect your time, but with this week, I started a project, 2 projects actually. I'm going to be working on a Thanksgiving production that I do every year called Simply Grateful. And what Simply Grateful started out as was a means to give families something to watch during Thanksgiving holiday. And I came up with that measure because I noticed that the pandemic, during the time, because I started it in the pandemic, that a lot of us were no longer able to be with our complete families. If people did not live directly in your house, it was very slim that you actually could go see them, right? So I wanted to give people some hope. I wanted to give people the ability to have some hope and joy and direction, inspiration, so to speak, within their homes. And because of that, we started and it went over well. And then we did it the next year, 2021, and it was great. Got a lot of great feedback. And this year, I'm excited because we get to take it a little bit further. I just had a meeting with a local venue here, Ground Zero, who is owned partly by the actor Morgan Freeman and another partner here. But we will be shooting there in a closed set, of course. But it's going to be great. We're going to have an amazing show, some amazing singers, musicians, artists, spoken word artists will be involved. And I'm excited about that. But I also started another project with surrounding bodybuilding contests. So I have my brother-in-law who is doing his first all-natural bodybuilding contest. And we're producing this out because his father was also a bodybuilder in his 20s and 30s. So he grew up seeing his dad do this and compete and win. His dad won some stuff in the competition. And it was always a part of his DNA growing up. So now with him being in health and wellness, he has ventured into training people, and his partner, shout out to Tommy over at Awakening Athletics. They are both competing. Tommy has been in it a little bit longer, so he's a pro. But they're both competing, and Jark is doing his thing for the first time, and we're documenting the whole thing and telling the story of how his father influenced him at a young age, and now he's also influencing his children and his son, who is now also starting to get into weight training and could possibly, it's to be seen, could possibly end up competing as well. So you could have a trifecta of generations who all have embraced. Now, Jark's story, I don't want to give it all away, is a little more interesting because Jark is a veteran of the Air Force, of the military. And during his time in the military was thrown from a vehicle where he was harmed. He was hurt. He had to get screws and all kind of things to utilize his limb again. And I'm not going to give you any more of that. You have to stay tuned and watch it. But it's going to be a great story, great compelling story. We really want to shoot it to be an inspiration and to show how our bodies are built to just adapt to anything that we do if we treat them well. And that's going to be a good story that we're also doing right now and looking to finish, throughout the year. But, one thing I've been noticing as I'm developing these projects is that being a one-man crew is challenging at times because you have to do everything. You're responsible for everything. Like we shot Sunday, and I have been shooting so much that I did not replace the AA batteries that I needed for lapels in that bag. I just switched bags because I assumed that I still had some in there. Thankfully, I always keep some of my more small bags, like my mobile lapels. If you're watching this, you can see the Deity kit I have that I always keep with me, as well as some Hollyland clip-on, more mobile mics that you can wear. The Deity actually performed perfectly because the Sony lapels that we had, we didn't have enough batteries to mic them up. And in that space we were shooting, I was banking on the lapels. I had a Rode mic, but I didn't have the proper length of XLR nor boom. I always keep a boom in my truck, but with the boom I had, it wasn't enough for the height and the space that we had to get the shot we needed. I say that to say, always make sure you're checking your gear, no matter how much you get into it, no matter how often you're shooting. Never take things for granted, because once you leave the studio or your house or wherever your gear is stored, like, you're at the mercy of what's in your bag. And thankfully, I keep redundancies in certain things, so if one thing goes out, I have a backup, because that time we had slated in that gym, we couldn't get back. We're on a short, compressed timeline, so everything that we do needs to be something that is not like squandered. But it ended up working out, and we had a great shoot. And like I said, being a one-man crew is tough at times because you have to wear so many hats. And I'm really trying to work more into building out more crews of people where I can have adequate help, people who are able to assist with these productions, because I say this humbly, I am looking at bigger picture projects. I don't want to just do the smaller projects anymore, because I've been there, done that, and it's time to grow. It's time to be scared. If you're not doing something that scares you or that has you a little bit of a nervous wreck about like how it's going to be completed, like it being perfect, or not even perfect, but just done to the best of your ability, then I don't know what you're working on. I like to encourage all of my people around me to always be growing and always be pushing yourself to do more. One of my biggest sayings that I often mention on the podcast is ABD. Always be documenting. If you're always documenting, and what I mean by that doesn't mean you got to carry your camera everywhere. It just means that your mind is always thinking about documenting what you see and experience. And because of that, it allows you to remain sharp. There's a saying that iron sharpens iron. Wood can't sharpen iron. You got to have something that is causing you to feel friction or feel some type of challenge when it comes to your creativity, to your ability to thrive and grow, right? And because of that, we got to make sure we're doing what it takes for us to remain game ready. Now, another thing that I've been doing this week is having to plan for my next year. And I've been looking at some stuff concerning, because literally all I do in my life outside of my time with my family is create. So my job that I currently have, I manage and I host, and I manage, host, and produce our podcast at the hospital. But I also handle all of the videography and the digital media needs primarily. Okay. But recently we have pretty much lost our designers, and we are now contracting out workers until, things are back solidified where we may or may not have in-house designers again, which is becoming standard for a lot of companies right now. But I'm noticing that a lot of creatives are migrating to new companies based on the ability to be able to choose where they work. How you feel in the workplace has taken a major stance in how people choose to be with you or away from you. Talent alone is not just enough. Pay alone is not just enough. People want to be able to enjoy their work. People want to be able to feel valued. They want to be compensated fairly for the amount of work and value that they bring. I'm looking at a lot of HR, and I recently been talking. My wife is in HR. She's an HR specialist with the government, and she gives me a lot of insight when it comes to how people hire and how people assess your skill set, right? So if you are working primarily with companies, or if your experiences are lying with companies or things that are not necessarily accredited, and what I mean by accredited is like they're a bona fide solid business, not just like somebody who started a business, but like somebody who has been seen as a cornerstone or a value asset of work and business in your community. So like mom and pops, like small businesses, I would even throw in nonprofits. Those are seen as not necessarily the standards of qualifications, versus if you work for someone like AT&T or Target, or like a local, like your city sports team, or like a agency that had major clients like politician work, or different things that could go, brands, champion, and things of that nature. You want to be able to have a resume that speaks to you being qualified to earn a living or a certain wage with your skill set. One of my guys that I recently, I kind of look up, like I look over him. He's like a little brother to me. We were talking because he was scrambling to get his portfolio together. He was scrambling to get something to market himself. Like, oh man, all these projects that I've done, I need to get them on my website. I need to update my website. I need to do all these things to sell myself to these new opportunities that I'm seeking. And that was another thing this week I wanted to bring to the podcast, is a simple reminder of, hey, take time. And this is me talking to me. Also, we have to take time to update the work that we're doing and producing, because you never know when that opportunity that could change your life and your direction in your career will come along. You don't want to have to try to get ready when someone else may already be more fitted and ready, because they expect the opportunities to come. You don't want to lose your chance based on just not taking the time to do that. So I wanted to spend some time reminding us of the importance of our portfolios, of our websites being updated, of us having our resumes. And my practice now going forward is every 3 to 4 months, I want to add to my resume, because I work constantly and I want to be able to put those brands and those great companies that I choose to work with on my resume, so that work can speak for me, for the opportunities that I've been afforded, for the value that I've brought to these platforms and these companies. So if you're doing that, make sure most of us probably right now need to go update, spend some time. Holidays are coming up. That's a great time when you're off to just work a little bit, put a plan together. Say, hey, this is what I'm going to do during my time off so that I can maximize my chance to move ahead and to be promoted when the time comes. Now, let's see. We talked about that. And another thing I've seen is just, I want to encourage you to network, okay? Networking doesn't start with you just asking for something. Sometimes you have to take time to build relationships. When I was sitting down with the team at Ground Zero, shout out to Hobbs, I went with the mindset of adding value to the people that I want to work with. I didn't go in and say, hey, I'm a videographer and you should hire me to do your X, Y, and Z. I sat down and I asked them a simple question. What do you need help with? Sometimes it's not the service you provide that is the gateway to what you do with your life. A lot of times it ends up being, how can we serve so that we may obtain? By serving others, it allows you to build a relationship and a bridge to where you want to be. See, a lot of times I learned that by doing the things that nobody else wants to do, it shows the person that I'm willing to invest in them first. And then that often, and I do mean often, reaps a reward and a harvest for me in the future. I really want you to grow by listening to this podcast. I suggest all the time someone that I study. If you aren't listening to Sean Anthony, I ask you to check him out in the School's Over Now What podcast. He gives you a lot of game on that. But most importantly, I want you to know that your life matters, that you radiate whether you know it or not. And we need everything that you have and provide in this world. So until next time, man, listen, go be great, go matter, and always be documenting. But it's your boy Lo. I thank you for listening. Until next time, I'll see you. Peace. Episode 64, we coming.